Next, we go to Mr. Langworthy. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Ranking Member. Whether it's managing a vineyard, operating a dairy, broadband access plays a crucial role in supporting our farming operations and initiatives. The nature of running a farm, much like operating a small to medium-sized business, requires reliable and fast internet connectivity to ensure efficient and effective management. Now, everything from ordering supplies to monitoring farm data to managing pesticide use, it's all done using the internet. We can't imagine a local convenience store or gas station operating without full broadband. Yet today, our farming operations are really no different. Like too many parts of our country, only 75% of my district is considered to be, quote, served by fast, reliable broadband. So while billions of dollars has been made available through new and existing programs to deploy broadband infrastructure, I share the goal of many of my colleagues here today to focus these abundant resources first and foremost on the areas that are unserved. And with that, Mr. Assey, last month I sent a letter with several of my colleagues here today to Secretary Vilsack regarding the Rural E-Connectivity Reconnect pilot program. We expressed to the Secretary that he prioritizes the pressing issue of connecting unserved rural Americans and bridging the digital divide by keeping the Reconnect program of the Rural Utility Service focused on this objective. Unserved households are unserved for a reason. They're often not economically viable for private entities to build networks there. So those unserved areas require the help of federal dollars. And for this reason, we need to ensure that the mission of Reconnect is to serve unserved areas first. This makes certain that the government is not overbuilding and developing competing networks where networks already exist. Like the cafeteria line, we need to make sure everyone is served first, and then if there's still food left, others can get back in line for seconds to build their networks to even higher speeds and higher capacities. I'm a little concerned with how new or additional funding for Reconnect and other programs will be adequately and appropriately targeted towards areas that are genuinely unserved. So can you talk a little bit about the importance of prioritizing unserved versus underserved areas?
Sure. And thank you for the question and for the letter. I think what it expresses is consistent with what was the original intent of the program, to really focus on our hardest problems first, because if we don't, things have a way of always trying to get, places that may have a larger economic return. And what we've seen in the past is the people that don't have even, standard broadband at 25.3 are continually left behind. So I think it's a good reminder. It's a good way to kind of refresh people's focus on the areas that we need to focus on first. They're the hardest problems to solve, but with resources and resolve, I believe they can be solved.
Well, we certainly have enough resources. Mr. Assey, for the past 2 decades, we've seen significant federal investment in broadband development. And given the influx of all of these funds to build out internet connectivity, how can we prevent overbuilding and duplication of federal efforts in funding for the broadband systems?
I think we have to have consistent standards for the areas that we're trying to serve with federal dollars. We have to recognize that no matter how much money that we put into the system to provide support, and I would say necessary support in areas where it's otherwise uneconomic to serve, there's a substantial capital investment that's being made by private companies, and we need to harness the benefits of competition in order to solve the problem.
Mr. Matheson, is there anything you'd like to add on that topic?
I'm sorry, I couldn't, the door up, what'd you say again?
Okay, is there anything you'd like to add on that topic of overbuilding?
I think that a comment I made earlier, it's easy to oversimplify the term overbuilding and unserved and underserved. I think there's a more nuanced approach we ought to be talking about here. I'm concerned about folks that are underserved, that are going to be left behind, and it's good enough for them. And for rural, it's good enough for rural. I don't buy that. So I understand that unserved are an important priority. I don't think I would summarily reject all unserved as being secondary to that. There's a more nuanced approach that I think this committee needs to think about as they write the next Farm Bill.
Very good. Thank you very much, and I yield back, Mr. Chairman.